bust, 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 bust. I told that baby go bust, 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 bust.
So we're gonna watch this podcast with this artist. His name is John Bellion, and he's an artist, he's a writer, he's written for pretty much all these artists, big artists that you know, Beyonce, Billie Eilish, Rihanna, Ariana Grande, all these pop artists. He's written for them. He's a big artist, a big deal. So he was on the George Janko podcast, and he was pretty much exposing the industry as everybody's. This it's the year of expose, guys. You know what I mean? This is the year of enlightenment. It's time to unlock the brain, unlock your third eye, and see behind the veil of these shiny obstacles that these niggas want you to think it's really what it is, but it really ain't what it is, man. So he's here, he's exposing Live Nation. If you guys don't know Live Nation, it's a events company that specializes in concerts, tours, all of that. So let's take a listen. He does more into a lot of things. I don't know if we're going to be able to get into the other stuff, but the Live Nation thing and his record deal is very important because he also speaks on his record deal. So yeah, shout out to John Bellion and shout out to George Janko. Let's get it.
It was right around the time I figured out how my Live Nation contract worked. It was right around the time I figured out how my record deal actually worked.
How did that make you feel?
Oh man, it was like panic attacks. It was like, oh my gosh, if A plus B equals C, like I'm never gonna pay this back. I'm gonna be on the road 11 months a year just trying to pay back. But we can get into that.
But also, like, that's crazy because think about it. You're at the very, very top, but then there's a thing that people don't understand. It's the business part of it.
Yeah. And Live Nation is they're going 12. They're getting everybody coming 12 ways, 12 times a Tuesday. We can get into that, and that's what I'm.
Are you with Live Nation?
No, I paid myself out of the deal, and I had to pay 25% extra on what they advanced me. But it's like when you figure that out on the road, and you're thinking, man, why did we buy 300 rolls of toilet paper? Why do we have to spend this much on catering every day? No one's eating the pizza. We're throwing out pies. Wait a second. What? In my contract, it says
because it's not their money.
You got to spend this much on catering, and it comes out of my pocket.
Yeah.
But then I have to pay in advance back. And by the way, the advance that you have to give me is only on hard ticket sales. So the concept called peanuts, parking, and alcohol. So when I sell out 10,000 people at Jones Beach, the person who buys a $20 hot dog, I don't see a dime of that. The person who buys $40 for parking, I don't see a dime of that. And the person who buys a $20 vodka and Red Bull, I don't see a dime of that. And then you advance me $1 million and tell me I'm rich to then find out that you're making $4 million a night. And it takes me 36 shows to pay back the $1 million you advance me.
It's a loan.
It's a fake loan.
It's a fake loan that it's
a fake loan.
Give you a loan so you can make money off of your creation.
Yes. But I figured, and then it hit me. Oh my gosh, they own all the venues. It's a monopoly. So then now they just want my body in this room so they can sell food and alcohol and whatever. So then they're gonna make tons of money. And then they got me like schlepping around the United States talking about I want to be famous, being on Instagram, trying to be this, that, and the third. So when you figure that out, and at the time, this is right when I first met with my wife, I was having panic attacks. I was like, wait a second.
That sounds scary. So, in layman's terms, what he's saying pretty much, Live Nation, the company that's in charge of touring and all these events and stuff, they pretty much own all the venues. So it's not like you can go and just do your own show at this venue because no, they own the venue. So obviously there's a contract in place when you're trying to do these sort of venues and stuff, and you're trying to make these concerts. So the percentage they get to eat of pretty much, since they own the venues, they get to eat off of everybody. So they're going to obviously call the subcontractors, the people who are going to provide the food, the alcohol, but they're going to get a percentage from those people who are selling all these things. So the venue is going to get a percentage from the sales of all the subcontractors. And since Live Nation owns the venue, they're essentially getting that money. So, and then they're still going to get a portion of the tickets that the artist sells, even though that's the only thing that the artist is going to get. But they're going to give you a really, really shitty portion. You know what I mean? Let's say it could be like a 20-80 split. They're going to keep the 80. You're going to keep. So if a ticket is like $10, you're going to get $2. They're going to get $8. You know what I mean? And they're still going to eat off of all the subcontractors from the venue and. So you can see the greedy machine. You can see the greed that comes from these fucking machines and these labels and these industries and they like octopuses, octopies, octopi. They have their tentacles every fucking where. When you sign to them, they have. So like, let me give you guys an example, and I'll use myself an example. So I'm a I'm a creator. I make content. I do streaming. I do podcast. I make music as well. If I had to sign to a label, most labels are going to offer me a deal. They'll sign me as an artist. Da 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 da. But in their contract, they make sure to state that they can use your name and your likeness in any other thing that you do. So say yes, I signed to a label as an artist, and say I'm still doing my podcast or am I streaming on the side. If that shit blows up, they can now they can now put their tentacles in the revenue of the other stuff that I did because it's my likeness, it's me, and they have the rights to your likeness. You know what I mean? So it's all that type of stuff. They can then sign me into deals. Like for example, they can sign me into a podcast deal or into a Rumble deal or a Kick deal or a Twitch deal, and they will get that money, even though they signed me as an artist. I mean, they didn't sign me as the person Sid who's making this content, but because it's my likeness and it's me, they have the rights to do that. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much how these labels get you, man. You think you're signing one thing, and that one thing, once you pull the thread, you actually see that, man, they're getting you, as he said. What did he say? He said 12 each day, one day, Sunday to Monday. I don't even know the saying he said, but it sounded crazy. Yeah.
Joe Schmo pays $20 for a hot dog, and I don't see that. And if I'm only making my advance back on hard ticket sales, that means I have to sell out every single venue in order to not go in the red, because I'm only paying my advance back on hard ticket sales. And by the way, they reserve the right in the contract to put the tickets on sale. So when it's $100 a ticket, they do their summer blowout sale. The tickets are only $10. So instead of me paying back $90 a ticket right before I go on tour, they drop a John Bellion sale, and the tickets are only $10. We can get into it, but then you have to pay back the $1 million they gave you off of $10 a ticket rather than the 90 they told you they were going to sell the tickets for. Because now you're doing arenas, now you're doing bigger shows, and they're like, they got you coming 12 times a Tuesday.
12 times a Tuesday. That's the saying. How fucked up is that? Jeez, man. Jeez, these labels.
You
They
found all
really
this.
be
You
getting
found all
this.
this out. Were you in the middle of a tour? Were you still having
Yeah,
to?
I was in the middle of a breakdown. I was in the middle of like a, oh my god, and then I'm like, if that's the case, what does my record contract look like? What does my publishing contract?
If you don't
look
mind me
like?
asking, where was this? Where was this business mind before you signed the papers?
It's a business mind of a young Italian kid that only knows the lawyer in his neighborhood. That when I was paid $10,000 when I signed my first publishing deal, I thought I was rich forever.
Which is the same case as everybody. I mean, like, let's not sit here and say, oh, why didn't you know this before? It's the case with everybody. Everybody knows when you're signing. That's what these labels do. They strategically go for people and artists who know the least about the music industry and the music business, so that they can exploit you the most, you know what I mean, or more, you know what I mean? Because the less you know about how royalties work, about how publishing work, about how copyright works, about how masters work, about how profit share works, about how intellectual property works, but the less you know about all these things, the more they can fucking get out of you. You know what I mean? So they wait. That's why these labels get these artists so young. And you wonder to yourself, how did these people blow up and they're so young, 16, 14, all of this? Like, that's crazy. It's because they wait for you to be that age. The younger you are, the better they can get you, because you don't know shit, and you're from a hood and you're from nowhere, and like, you're not exposed to none of this shit. You're just a talented person who's got the gift, and you can work hard, and they can see that, and they can exploit you. And that's what they do. That's why you see old people, older artists, more established, they don't get signed and stuff like that. You never heard of someone popping off in their late 20s, mid 20s, in their early 30s, because by that time you would at least already have known all these information. You know what I mean? Even though they definitely will still sign you, but it's like, now that you know more of this, oh shit, that was my light. Now that you know more of this shit, you know what I mean? Now that you know more of the tricks, because the longer you're in the industry, or you don't even have to be in the industry, but the more research you do for yourself, the less labels actually want you, because they want niggas that know nothing, so that they can exploit you more. They can offer you peanuts, and you'll think, oh my god, this is a lot of money. But if you know your rights, oh my god, and if you know that, bro, what they're offering you is nothing close to what you worth, or what you could potentially make. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're gonna end it there. You guys will definitely go watch it. It's a long one. It's like 2.5 hours. You guys go watch it. He's talking about also his music journey and all of that, finding Christ. A lot of people are finding Christ these days. It's good, it's dope. So shout out to prior to this podcast episode, I'd never had heard of John Bellion. So it's refreshing when I stumble upon these artists who are actually big in the foreground, not in the background. And they're coming out and they exposing these things, because stuff we need to know, man. It's stuff that people need to know. And you may think to yourself like, you may not care because you might not be an artist or you know, but really like all these, because all of this is just intellectual property. All of this is just, it falls under the realm of intellectual property. Whether you're a music maker, whether you're a script writer, whether you're an actor, whether you're a director, whether anything that has to do in the creative space, you're going to stumble upon copyright, intellectual property contracts and stuff like that. And you need to be equipped with the not only knowing the knowledge of A, B, C, D, and D, but you gotta know the tricks as well. You gotta know the back end of how these labels work. You gotta know the tricks that they're gonna try and get you with, so that even if you're at a position where you know what, I accept these tricks, I know that this is what's coming out, but for me, I just want my music to reach this order. I just want my music to go further. I just want more people to be able to experience my music. So I don't mind relinquishing that A, B, C, and D. It's fine as long as you're okay and you actually know. You know what I mean? I think for an artist, it's much better to actually know how you're being fucked over, rather than to find out years later that they're taking A, B, and C from you and you only thought it's happening this way. You know what I mean? At least in the get-go, I wish labels were just more upfront in the get-go about what they're gonna do, how they're gonna do it. Yes, obviously, less artists would sign, but I think they would get less instances of this, of them being exposed, because now people actually know. Okay, before you sign, they know A, B, C, and D is gonna happen to you. Do you accept? Yes, I accept. These are your pros. These are your cons. Do you accept? Rather than to just hide a whole bunch of, cons, hide a whole bunch of cons. Now the artist gotta, go through all these things and find them out later, and then they're gonna expose you. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's the lesson in all of this. But yeah, shout out to John Bellion. Shout out to George Janko. Very, very dope podcast. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the last one.
Bust, 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 bust. I told that baby go. Bust, 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 bust.